Okay, class, so this is an activity that I'd like for you to complete in your portfolios. And it's an activity which has you guys create your own functions. So the first thing that you're going to do is come up with two variables. So the first part of this is come up with a unique example, so it can't be similar to your friends, of a relation of two variables that create a function, but the converse of the relation is not a function. So converse, if we look at this word, that just means that you're doing the opposite, so you can switch the dependent and the independent variables. So that's the first part of the activity. The second part is you're going to come up with one unique relation that is a function and its converse is also a function. And the last one, two variables that are not a function, that don't form a function, and the converse is also not a function. Now the key part of this, when you come up with this, with these examples, is I just want to see your explanation, why you chose this. And it's okay to take a risk and state that the reason why you believe those fit into one of these categories. But I need to see that sentence explaining your rationale. So let me show you an example that I've done. Okay, so a relation between two variables that is a function and the converse is not a function. So the two variables I chose were height and age. And I wrote it in this format. Height is a function of age. So if you remember, height, this is a dependent variable. The dependent variable is a function of the independent variable, or the output is a function of the input. So let's see if this is true. Is height a function of age? So we took this. I'm going to make a graph really quick just to explain my point. But the graph, I have my independent axis is my horizontal axis, so age, and I'm going to say that's in years. And on my dependent axis, I'm going to put, my dependent axis, I'm going to put height. And let's put that in inches. Okay, so we have these two axes. And let's just say that we have 68 inches is the max on this one. So that's about 5 foot 8 inches. Or it is 5 foot 8 inches. Okay, so let's say that we're going to go all the way up to someone who's 80 years old. Now if you start off, we can start at, well, you didn't start at 0 inches. You came out and you were some height. And as you grew, you went through your teenage years and you spurted up. Then you stopped growing at a certain age. You kind of plateaued for a while. But then with some people, as they get older, they may decrease in height just a bit. That's quite a bit, but it's a good example. All the way into 80 years old. So we can say this increase right here, well, that could be from age 14 all the way up to, let's say that's 18. And let's just put this number as about 65. Okay, so is this a function? Well, for every age, I have exactly an output here, so it works. This is a function. So yes, this works. It's one-to-one. For every single independent variable, I have a unique dependent variable. Alright, so let's see if the converse of this is true. So if I switch this and I put height here and age here, well, that ends up not being a function, because let's look at this. At 18, I was, or this person was a certain height, and let's say that that was 67 inches. Well, back at 65, we're 67 inches. So in this case, if we said height was the independent variable, well, 67 corresponds to 18 years old, and 67 corresponds to 65 years old. And remember, you can't have a repeat in your independence. So this one, converse, is not. So converse is not a function. Alright, so do your best on this. Remember, you do not have to make a graph. You just have to give the two variables and give a sentence or two just explaining your rationale on why one way is a function or if it is not a function and why. And of course, I'll be going around and helping, and we'll have some students who firmly understand this concept helping as well.